Hi guys, it's your girl Chi Chi coming to you with another video. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell you that up front. Subscribe. Well, anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys today about the video, well, the show. It was a two-part show actually, on the OWN network. Oprah and Iyanla Vanzant got together with a couple of people to do a show in regards to Fatherless Sons. And pretty much, if you didn't get a chance to see it, it was basically about they had a bunch of older men, middle-aged men, younger men, boys, and their mothers or their fathers, grandparents, or whomever, raised them or was raising them, or mentors in their lives and things of that nature. They all sat down and had kind of much like a powwow and discussed things that hurt them, things that they wanted their fathers who were not in their lives to know. Even the people who had fathers in their lives, they also had some messages to some of the fathers who were there living in the home, but pretty much were emotionless. So that means that you're not there. If you are living in the house, with the son, with your children, and you're not interacting with that child, and you're not showing emotion, you're just being a disciplinarian and bringing home a check, and that's it. They pretty much discussed that, and it was very, very powerful. And I have to say, I've seen over the years a lot of different shows, whether it be television or movies or what have you, that try to touch on the fact that a lot of men, unfortunately, are walking away from their children or their families, their wives or what have you, and and what effect it could have or would have on the children or the family without that father figure being there. I'm going to touch on a couple of points, and I'm going to look down a couple of times because I wrote a few notes for myself, so I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Well, again, it to me was one of the most powerful shows I've ever seen, because you had so much emotion, men crying, boys crying, and people expressing themselves. And I think this is something that's really needed. And what I would like to see is some sort of movement toward having parenting classes for men and women, so that they know what to do and how to raise kids. Because as they were stating on the show, a man doesn't know how to raise a son if he wasn't raised by a man, or if he didn't have a father figure. Because a mother can only do so much. She may be able to teach him how to dress and cook, and can talk to him about how a woman wants to be treated. But also, a lot of the times, if you really pay attention to how children learn by their environment, by mimicking, regurgitating what they've learned, things of that nature. So if a child is at home and there's no father, especially a son, how can he know how to treat a wife if he hasn't seen, or if it hasn't been explained or shown to him how to treat a wife, a woman, a mother, things of that nature? You know what I mean? So a lot of what they were saying makes a lot of sense. So she had Dr. Steve Perry. He's an educator. He had two sons, and basically they showed that where the school where he was teaching or what have you, or was the educator there, 100% of his students, they were minorities, went to college. All of them graduated and went to a 4-year college. And that is a strong, strong accomplishment for anyone to be able to say that 100% of their students went to college. I don't think that's ever been done anywhere before. Because there's always at least one person or 10 people who wound up dropping out or not doing something for whatever reason there may be. He also had Jeffrey Kendall. He was basically for the Harlem Children's Zone. And let's see here. What they were trying to do, again, was trying to just start this conversation with the world, the nation, so that we as parents, teachers, everybody can just get together and start raising our children the right way, and focusing on the male at this point and what his role is in the household, and the fact of their matter of what happens when he's not there. And a lot of kids grew up, without their father. And it's unfortunate. I mean, you had one young man, it was an ex-football player there on the show, and his son was there. I mean, the young man, he was a handsome little guy, looked like he was extremely intelligent, and he sat there crying because now his father was an ex-football player, NFL player, okay? And he hadn't seen his father since he was 4 years old. The boy's 13 now. So I'm like looking at the dad, like, where in the hell have you been? How come this young man has not seen you? This boy hasn't seen you since he was 4. What the hell is the problem? Why hasn't he seen you? And you know what? Some people don't seem to understand. There are so many psychological reasons of why men walk away. One of the ones I want to touch on right quick. I hate it when there's a relationship between a man and a woman, and he's so in love with the woman, and the child comes along, and all of a sudden he changes, he switches gears. There are a lot of men that actually are jealous of the children because the woman focuses so much attention, as well she should, because children need guidance, love, attention, affection, nurturing. They need everything, and they can't fend for themselves when they're babies or they're toddlers. They have to actually have you there with them. So sometimes men don't like the fact, and I'm just speaking from things that I've heard, things that I've seen in other families, things that I've experienced personally. Sometimes men don't know how to accept the fact that there's another person in the household that has to share the attention of the mother or the wife. Some men can't cope with the fact that they're having to share the spotlight or share that person, with someone else. And even though it's a child, some men are jealous of that. And it could stem from the fact of the matter that when they were a child, they didn't get the attention or the affection they needed or wanted, and that little boy inside of them is actually acting out against their own child. You have some men that walk away because it's more than what they bargained for. They don't want to be there because either they feel as though the family would be better without them because they're not producing the way that they should in the household, or sometimes some men just don't want to be in a family. Simple as that. They don't want a family. Now they'll lay down and have sex and do everything else, won't protect themselves to stop a child from being produced, but they don't want a family. But in the midst of it all, will produce a child and walk away. Then you have some men that their fathers weren't there when they were little boys. They didn't have a male role model or anyone there to help them or to watch them at their football games or, talk to them about, life. You have some men that just don't know how to parent because they've missed out on so many things and just don't know where to start. So I look at it this way. If you're a young man and you know the hurt you felt not having a man around, why not try to break that cycle and decide not to walk away? Be there, And one of the points that was made on the show that just really hit home with me was when it was stated that, sometimes when men do walk away or things of that nature, they don't know how to parent, so they think they're better off being away from the family. I don't agree with that, but I do agree with, and what I really liked was when they said men who have left their families or walked away from their kids and have not been around their children, and you call your child and your child is cold on the phone, or when you go and see them they don't really want to go with you, or they're hesitant to be in your presence and they're angry, that the child has every right to feel that way or to react that way toward you because you haven't been there. And the point was made that sometimes men just, for some reason, they get mad at that. But you don't have a right to get mad because a child is what it is. A child is a child. And basically, you can't get mad if that child is being cold towards you because you haven't been there. You have to learn how to suck it up, is what they were saying. Suck it up and realize and admit and own it. Own the fact that you walked away, you left this child here for how many years, or you're just a weekend parent, or you're a parent that comes around every 3 months or every birthday. Suck it up when the child is cold towards you. Suck it up if the child doesn't want to be in your presence. That means you need to check yourself and get back in the game and continue to do what you need to do to make that child feel important. Because what happens is when you walk away, that child feels as though it's their fault. It's something that they did. They were a mistake. They didn't want to, you didn't want them. And in a lot of respects, you didn't want. Some men don't want their children. But something eventually clicks within them and makes them realize, well, I'm a father, let me try to do it. No matter how many times you hit that wall with that child, you got to keep hitting that wall until that wall breaks down. Period. There's no excuse for any person, any man, to lie down with a woman and produce a child, whether you wanted to produce that child or not, and walk away from the child. Always remember that. It's not the child's fault. The child didn't ask to be here. So even if you feel that you didn't want that child to be, it is what it is. So make the best of it for that child, because you don't know what that child may grow up to become. I look at Shaquille O'Neal, and his dad walked away from their family, and his stepfather, when his mother remarried, his stepfather was the best damn dad that Shaquille basically stated he could ever have. Then all of a sudden Shaquille becomes rich and famous, and here comes the dad trying to come back into your life. Now that's happened, I'm sure, to a lot of stars, rappers, and actors and actresses. Once you become something, now they want to claim you. You never know what your child can do. You never know what future your child may have. Look at Barack Obama. Look at Barack Obama. He's the president of the United States, and his father walked away. Okay, in spite of the man walking away, look at how great. Look at what some people have accomplished in their lives. What I look at is, how much stronger would Barack have been? Where would he be? He probably could have been president sooner than he was. You just never know what a difference a father being there 100% of the time could have done for him or other children. Sure, he had his grandfather and his grandmother, but those people can't really take the strong replacement or place of a father. Yeah, you need all the help that you can get, because it does, and I believe that it does take a village to raise a child, but we need the fathers to be there. Now, some of the things that I liked that they talked about, that Jeffrey talked about, he had a list of action steps that you can start doing as a parent to let your children know that you love them, that they're important, that you care about them, whether you live in the house or not. Because sometimes you can live in a house and you be absent, as they stated. Just because you think you bring home a check, because you're bringing a check home and you can lay out punishments, does not mean that you are being a good father. It means that you're being a father, but not a good one. Okay, one of the steps they said that you can do is go out of your way to do things to make the child believe that they're important, as far as picking them up after school. If your child normally rides the bus, or they normally walk home from school, or if the mom normally picks them up, sometimes, Dad, you go pick up the child. You go pick them up. You shouldn't be ghost. As far as your child's friends should know who you are. It shouldn't be, a mystery if that child has a father or not. All the kids in that child's life should know that you exist. This is here. Let's see. Cook a meal. Cook a meal with your child. Bring your son in and just cook with him. Hey, you chop up the onions, I got the bell pepper. Make some meals together. Bake some cookies. Shoot. Take a day off and go on the school field trip. I remember when my oldest daughter was in school and I'd go on field trips, it was always the mothers. Always the mothers. Every blue moon, her dad would come with us, at a field trip or whatever. But, all of her friends knew she had a father. When she was younger, he participated a lot when she was a little girl. Go to parent-teacher conferences. That's important. You need to know what your child is doing, what they're not doing. Don't just leave it for the mom to come home and be a tape recorder and tell you what happened in the parent-teacher conference. You need to go to the parent-teacher conference. And for those, even if your child's making straight A's, you need to be there. Because you're still letting the child know, though you're doing excellent and you're excelling in school, I need to make sure that you're staying on point, and I need to know what's going on with you. Period. Show up to the school play. If your child's in a play, a football game, a basketball game, volleyball, golf, I don't care what it is. a talent show, be there. Show your support, because that's what children need. They need to be supported. I remember when I was in high school, I played volleyball. My dad was in the Navy, so he was never there. My mom, lived in Florida. I lived in Tennessee at the time, and my stepmother was there. She came to one game, one. So you gotta participate more when your child is doing something. You got to show up to the graduation. Each little phase your child goes through, they have a graduation, from preschool to kindergarten, from kindergarten to first grade, from sixth grade to seventh grade. Some schools do from ninth grade to 10th. Some schools do, well, we all know about your senior graduation. You should be there. Every accomplishment that your child makes, you should be there. If you have to save up time to take time off of work, whatever you got to do, if you got to work an extra shift or work an all-nighter or whatever to do that, you need to make it perfectly clear that that child is important enough for you to do that. You've got to do that. I want to add, have game night where you just play board games with your child. Whether it be Monopoly or Sorry or Clue or whatever it may be. Scrabble, to me, is my number one favorite, because you're having fun, but you're also learning at the same time, and you're teaching your child something at the same time. I also like to have movie night. Movie night where you pick maybe 3 or 4 movies. Everybody picks a movie, and everybody has to watch everybody's movie. So even if it's cartoons and you don't want to watch them, guess what? You better make sure and act like it's the best damn cartoon there is, and sit down and watch it with your child. Also, homework. Don't let it just be the mom's job to do the homework, or the bigger brother or the bigger sister helping the child do their homework. You should be, pitch in and look over that homework. If mom is stronger in math than dad, then mom do the math. But when it comes to reading or English or what have you, then dad picks up. So, just play an active role. Yard work. I like yard work. If it's yard work that you have to have your son come out and help you cut the grass, trim hedges, pull weeds, whatever it may be, it's something that you're doing together. You can go bike riding together. So there's just a plethora of things that you can do to show that child, because interacting and having activity with the child is the most important thing, because then that child knows, what, whenever I want to do this, I know my dad is there. Whenever I need to do this, my dad is there. It shouldn't be I'm a hindrance, or I'm a bother, or I don't want to talk to my dad because I'm afraid. It should never be any of that. A child should be able to know, whether you're living in the house or living 20,000 miles away, they should know that no matter what, if I pick up the phone and call my dad, he's going to talk to me. If I text him, he's going to text back. If I want to go somewhere, he's going to make sure that he's there with me. It should always be that. But again, men who are watching this, please, please, please remember that if your child is being cold toward you, that's your fault. It's not the child's fault. You can't sit up here and try to justify, oh, he doesn't like being disciplined. No, it's not that he doesn't like being disciplined. Children want discipline. It's the fact of the matter that if that's all that you do, then of course they're not going to want to be disciplined. If that's all that you do is show up to tell them about themselves, to curse them out, to spank them, to scold them, if that's all that you do, then that's what it is. If you can prove that you're nurturing, that you're loving, that you love them, give them a hug, kiss them on the forehead, hug them. A lot of men, for some reason, don't feel that it's macho to hug or kiss their kids. It's macho, to hug and kiss your kids, because a real man would be able to do that with no problem. Hug your son, kiss him on the forehead, kiss him on the cheek, hug him, let him know, hey man, I'm here for you, I love you. Because if we don't get a grasp on this broken cycle is going to continue and continue and continue, and it's a sad thing. One of the things is like, a father should be able to, claim, define, protect, and guide are 4 points I think that are important for a father to do. You know, you have to basically claim your child, claim that you're there, do what you have to do. Define your role. The children should know, well, dad is the disciplinarian. He's basically the person who takes care of our finances. He basically helps us to cook. He helps to clean. He helps to do everything. It shouldn't be, oh, mom is washing dishes. I hate that when it always seems as though, you know, the roles are, this is a woman's job or a man's job. No, it's not. It's everybody's job. If you eat off a plate, you should be able to wash a damn plate. Bottom line, it shouldn't always be defined that strong of a defined role in the house where only one person is always doing something. Teach your son how to do the laundry. It shouldn't always be the mom's job to do that. You know, be a